I'm Addie.
And I'm Nasir. And you're watching
POPPYN. POPPYN is a youth-led news show that highlights the positive things youth are doing in the city and a youth perspective on a range of different issues.
For the past 6 years, we have created media that highlights the efforts, concerns, and creativity of Philadelphia youth.
This is a very special episode because it's our first international project. We're taking things out of Philly and across the diaspora to highlight youth power in South Africa.
That's right. For our 25th episode, we traveled to South Africa to embark on a cross-cultural media project with youth organizations in Johannesburg and Rustenburg.
South Africa is a country with a rich historical legacy of youth organizing and leadership.
We worked together with organizations to create experimental narrative and journalistic media that promotes youth power, social change, and explores our connectedness across the African diaspora.
This collaboration was made possible by generous donations of friends, family, and community members. We would like to thank you all for your ongoing support of POPPYN and for sharing and donating to our crowdfund.
Now, let's jump into the episode.
Before we actually met any youth in South Africa in person, POPPYN initiated a dialogue about culture and connectedness with youth from the Royal Bafokeng Nation, which is the homeland of the Bafokeng people who resisted colonialism and took control of their platinum mines.
The young people we spoke to were from two organizations, Anu a youth organization that fosters leadership, entrepreneurship, and global awareness, and a Bafokeng Youth Center, a community center that offers resources and opportunities for youth and their families.
From across the Atlantic, we exchanged films asking and answering questions like, do Black youth in Philly feel a connection to Africa? Do youth in South Africa feel a connection to Black American youth? Is there a desire to connect? What questions do youth across the diaspora have for each other?
Let's take a look.
POPPYN, we saw your questions. You were so curious that do we feel connected to Black Americans? So I think, my people or my youth would say, what do you say about it? How do you feel? Do you feel connected to those Black American youth?
They all came from Africa. So at some point, I feel connected to them because of whenever I see a Black guy in America, African American, they call them, I feel like we are brothers or sisters,
I don't feel any connection because the only thing I know is what I see from the television and what I read from the internet. So I don't feel anything.
I don't feel connected to them because I feel we have different issues. We are facing different issues here in South Africa, and they are facing different issues, totally different, and we have a different way of dealing with those issues.
I feel as though the term African American doesn't really apply to us though, because we don't really have any connections to our African roots anymore. Like, unless your family was really into it and passed down those roots to you. Like, me personally, I cannot name one African tradition, like, at all. Like, I rather use the term Black to describe myself than African American.
I feel as though I was born here, my parents were born here, and my grandparents were born here. So none of us rooted from Africa. So I don't know why I'm called an African American when I'm full American. I know back when we all came over from slavery, I understand that, but like, I don't know anything about Africa really that the people who are from Africa know. So like, all I know is it's a lot of villages and people do traditions I don't know about.
Responding to what Nasir said, I think African American does apply because African Americans are not native to this country. So like, even though we live here, maybe some of us were born here, your parents were born here, your grandparents were born here, this is not really the country of your origin.
Alright, so in America, there's a foster care system, which means like there's kids being taken from their parents, or like if their parents pass, like they get put inside of a system called DHS. But like, is there like a foster care system down there?
There are many foster cares here. Like, people go and sleep there. Those who don't have homes, those who are in poverty, they can get help there, yeah. And they are proper, well taken care of.
In school, the only thing we learned about Africa is the people over there being taken and brought over here. Did y'all learn anything about the way we live over here versus the way y'all live over there.
We don't do American history, we only do African history. We learn about what happened in our country, not in America.
What kind of food do y'all eat? What kind of clothes do y'all wear?
So in South Africa, we design our own clothes and we wear the same clothes that they wear. Yeah, and tattoos are there, everything is there.
We have different kind of materials that are represented by different kind of tribes that we do have. I'm Tswana, so we put on litoiti. Unfortunately, I don't have the something to show you, but we cut out the material and you do your own design and you put it on, and that's what we use to celebrate heritage.
We are the same as America because we eat burger too. We eat pizzas. We are the same, but we eat papa, morogo, sepatu.
Do you guys actually go to school every day? Do you guys have schools?
Like we go to school under the trees. Like we do have schools. Actually, we are peer educators. We work as peer educators in different schools.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, have the challenges because of, as we are the teenagers, some of us they got pregnant, but in the other ways, and then, yeah. The challenges come from our background. Maybe our parents doesn't work, and then I feel to have a blesser so that he could do something for me, everything that I need. Clothes, you could buy me clothes, a car, food, so that I can be successful in life. And then, yeah, as a teenagers, we need something more. We need a big things. So that's why we have to hustle. We hustle the way we like. Yeah.
Hi, we are in Bafokeng Youth Center. We're here at POPPYN right now, and we got your questions. We just watched the video, and we're going to try and respond to as many as we can. So let's just jump straight into it. The first question that we got was,
why do you think Africa is a country that is full of bushes and does not have that life, the good life?
Why do you Americans think South Africans are poor?
A lot of times, like in school, they'll tell you about all the bad things happening in Africa, or the media will show you like starving children in commercials and trying to get you to donate, but you never see like, I guess, thriving cities in different countries in Africa. And another thing that like I feel is a stigma is that Africa's one big country, and in reality, there's over 50 different small countries that make up the continent and are all different, and the people there are not all the same.
Hi, my name is Jayla. So this thought or like mentality, it comes, well, I see it that it comes from like commercials and like a penny a day can save kids in Africa, like things like that. I don't understand it, but like I'm like, oh, okay. Like, we really don't know what's going on over there.
I want them to know that we as South Africans, we also have life. We don't live in bushes. We don't bath with dishwashers and stuff. We like we go to school. I want them to know that. I want them to know that we live a proper life. We are the same, and to have mutual respect. That's what I would like.
I want to understand, why do they call themselves niggers? Because I think nigger, it's from Negro and it's racist. So they seem okay with nigger, That's what I want to understand.
It was like used back in the days to like discriminate blacks, and now like blacks themselves are using it like to show like we use it to build each other up instead of like breaking us back down, and like showing other races like you can't use this word to hurt us anymore.
I know some older black people who don't like when people use the N-word. I think basically from a younger point of view, it's mainly because it's been around us so much and we grew up with it.
So I know Julia also said that the word was first used derogatory and now it's kind of uplifting. But I think my question would be, when a white person or a person of a different race says it, how does that make you feel?
when I see like a white person say it, that's a different story. Like I really don't like them using it, but like when I see other races using it, I be like, I mean, they have their own slang. I don't know why they don't use it themselves, but like a lot of different races have a lot of different slang words that they use during those depressing times.
Do they follow political issues? Do they want to know what's happening in South Africa?
To be honest, I barely know about American politics, and I really don't even keep up with American politics. And to say I keep up with any other country's politics would be a lie.
The first time I was introduced to South African politics as a whole was Nelson Mandela and his wife and the things that they went through, and then almost a compare and contrast to Martin Luther King Jr. over here in the Vegas of census. But other than that, I've never had an encounter with really in-depth politics.
Now we're seeing like more like media coverage of like South African politics because of the new president, Ramaphosa, like in the land redistribution. Like now we're seeing like it on mainstream, not even that much coverage, but like we can see it on like mainstream news.
Hi, I'm Julia. In my school, we only learn Spanish, and that's like for only 11th and 12th grade. And they barely teach us Spanish. Like they only teach us like foods and clothes, and that's it.
If you were to know and understand your roots, like how deep would you live, like kinda live accordingly to your roots and embrace that? You know, you call yourselves African Americans, but how deep would you wanna embrace the African cultures and all that?
I would love to get connected to my roots in Africa. I know I go to international school, and I have African, like real African American students in my school. And when I ask them about where they from, they say with pride. I'm from Sudan, I'm from Morocco, I'm from Liberia. They can say where they from with pride. And when I say where I'm from, like I'm from America, Philadelphia, like I guess. I wish I could be like them.
Most of the time, we as Africans, we think that America is one of the greatest country, and we think many billionaires and millionaires are from America. So our opinion as Africans, we think that America are better in each and every way, but getting to express and getting to have interaction with Americans, it is more complicated than we thought.
I don't know about you, but I know after working on that segment, I was even more motivated to work on this project and complete this trip.
Yes, I definitely agree. So now, after completing the trip, do you think you would have responded to some of those questions differently?
I think so. And I know that some of our fellow POPPYN producers felt embarrassed with their comments after seeing the edited version. But we decided to keep the conversation as it is. Because the truth is, many Americans have misconceptions about Africa, and we want to be transparent that even here at POPPYN, we have some learning to do.
Right. And remember what our audience members said at our community screening in Fokang? They told us to come back to the U.S. and tell people the truth about them. So we hope that this episode lives up to that call to action and provokes more dialogue about stereotypes and truth. So next up, we're going to take a look at a narrative film created by youth at I Am We Are.
I Am We Are wrote the script and began filming in the fall of 2017 with POPPYN's coordinator, Nuela. When we arrived the following April, we worked together to finish the short film about Neope, a street drug that has taken a toll on the community. Then, we worked together to translate some of the dialogue, which is spoken in Swanan, a language spoken in Southern Africa by more than 5 million people.
Let's check it out.
Hey! Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. It is a great day today for us to learn about our careers. I'm here to help you fulfill your futures. Ah! Shut up, boy. What are you doing?
I was just asking about your dress. Your dress so nice.
Hey, I'm not here to talk about such things like as my clothes. I'm here to help you with your career. Hi, just because I don't speak your language doesn't mean we're not equal. This is important. This is very important for you guys to know about your jobs and careers.
This lesson of yours is boring.
Hey, if you do not think it's important and you don't want to be here, then you can leave.
I can leave. I'm
Then
craving now.
Let's go. Then let's go. Let's go. You too. You too. Let's go. That's okay. Well, if you don't care, what are you craving?
I'm craving you.
What do you mean you're craving your thing?
You will never understand.
Doing things you shouldn't be doing. Your youth, your children should be acting like you're doing that. Alright, come on. Come on. In the principal's office.
What is the reason that you're coming into my office?
Hello, ma'am. I'm so sorry to bother you, but these two learners, they keep disrupting my class. They keep talking and chatting. We're trying to learn about our careers and they don't want to learn. They're not interested. I'm trying to help them, but I just can't.
What do you have to say for yourself?
I've got nothing to say. I've got nothing to say.
You see?
All that I have to do is just to go back home.
Yes, we can go.
This is where I found my peace. In school, they shouted at us. Look at you. You're shouting at me. I want to go home.
Yes,
Never
we
see
can
me
leave.
again in this school.
We can leave. You know, first, you disrespect Marisha. And second, you disrespect your classmates. You are expelled.
You see? We try so hard and just...
And they disrespect themselves. Where are the parents?
Hey guys, let's go. You know, let's go and have some.
I don't know what to do with my Wait.
what kind of the stuff do you want?
Stuff is necessary.
Ejo fage mali zo wo na fage mali fage mali.
Malako.
Oh, wana. Re batla spo jalo so ne. Rocks.
Le tla go tela nga spo.
Sure. Di sharp. Se sharp.
Lo wete ka di rizla ke re ba.
O ka nna tla le tsone.
No. Ni sa.
So, ga ke batla matakala ka scope and dono.
Sure.
Awe.
Fire. Sharp.
Yona we editseng ke eng se ke se editseng se lo goreng se skana ke tshwanetse go slice.
That was a lot of information, so let's unpack that a little bit.
If you missed it, Niobe is a really addictive drug that is having a serious impact on the young people in South Africa.
Niobe is made by combining HIV medication, cleaning detergents, and rat poison.
This combination is extremely dangerous and has caused many fatalities since 2000.
You might think that the HIV medication is an expensive addition compared to the other ingredients. However, due to the prevalence of HIV exposure in South Africa, the medication is usually cheap or free.
Yeah, the HIV epidemic in South Africa actually inspired our friends from the African Youth Center to create a film titled Know Your Status, which explores the importance of getting tested. Next 3 people. Can you please get you guys follow me now.
Good day, gentlemen. How was your morning today? I know you're a bit too nervous, but don't worry. I think everything will go well. I'm sorry, gentlemen, but I have to tell you this. You are both positive.
That was a really powerful piece depicting the unfortunate reality in South Africa, which has the 4th highest rate of HIV according to the United Nations.
Young people are being affected at a rapid rate. Nearly a third of all new HIV infections in South Africa occur in the 15 to 24-year-olds, with adolescent girls and trans folk being the most at risk.
But the high rate of HIV is not something exclusive to South Africa. According to AIDS Fund Philly, Philadelphians are being infected with HIV at a rate 5 times the national average and are being infected at a rate more than 50% higher than residents of New York City, which is over 5 times larger than Philadelphia's population.
Let's show some love to the Bafokeng Youth Center for encouraging us all to get tested and practice safer sex.
Now, HIV testing was not the only thing young people in the Royal Bafokeng Nation were concerned about.
While there, we shared our knowledge on cameras, interview skills, and editing. Equipped with these skills, they shot their own panel discussion on parenting and unemployment.
Let's check out some of the clips from those panel discussions now.
Unemployment can really damage people. Imagine if you had to go and sell your body just because you have nothing on your pocket. You need that money. You need to survive. So let's share what can be done to prevent unemployment in South Africa. Okay.
I think what needs to be done is that our representatives, the people who we elect, so that they can be the leader of our country, they should do their job and stop using the money for the country for themselves. They must do something to help the youth, like job creation, and do something that will help the youth to have money, to gain something.
What is your relationship with your parents like?
It's a positive one, of course. I love my mom, I love my dad. And we talk about things, we talk about things and they guide me, and it's so fun, like talking to my mom, talking to my dad. It feels like I'm with my friends, just right next to me. So, yeah, it's a lovely relationship. It is indeed.
My relationship with my parents, I think it's good. It's fine in a way, but I think it needs a strength a bit. We need to strengthen it a bit. Like I need to talk. I need to be free with my mom when we talk, like that kind of a mom and a daughter talk. But really, it sucks for now.
Talk about what can be done to build that strong relationship between us as young people and our parents.
I think parents should listen. Should try to listen to their children. They should not try to make decisions on their own. They should first ask their children how they feel and what they think about something before they take decisions. Because most of the time, our parents do like to make us do things which we would not like, but they like. Most of our parents want us to live their dreams. They want us to live their dreams, not our dreams. For instance, you want to be actor, but your father wants you to be a doctor. So our parents should listen to what we want.
It's cool to see other young people speaking so passionately about issues they care about.
Yeah, and a lot of the things they brought up resonate with me. Trying to find a job is not easy, and it's even more stressful when you don't feel like you have a parent or guardian to express your frustrations to.
I know a lot of Philly youth can relate to feeling the pressure of helping to provide for the family. Hopefully, those segments, which are both available online, will provoke discussion in South Africa and beyond. In Johannesburg, we visited the African Leadership Academy, a private high school that attracts youth from across the continent, and met with some students who are active in media and activism.
We also visited the National Broadcast Institute, and they do similar work to us. One of their programs is Joburg TV.
Joburg TV functions as an internship program for college graduates in South Africa. The program is a gateway to pursuing media and journalism careers.
They report on breaking news in their community and around the city. In fact, while we were at their studio, they were preparing to conduct some interviews at an event commemorating the life of Winnie Mandela.
The late Winnie Mandela was a pillar in the movement for black liberation in South Africa. She and her husband, Nelson Mandela, led the fight against apartheid in South Africa. She was often considered the voice of marginalized, to where many South Africans viewed her as mother of the nation.
If you didn't know, apartheid was a set of policies that enforced segregation and institutional racism in South Africa from 1948 all the way until 1991.
Apartheid was based on the Jim Crow laws in the U.S. Because of this relationship, South Africans and African Americans experienced similar struggles.
Similar to the civil rights movement in the U.S., young people were on the forefront of resistance to end apartheid.
One of the most notable events was the Soweto Youth Uprising on June 16, 1976.
On this day, an estimated 20,000 students came out to protest a government policy requiring schools to use Afrikaans as the primary language of instruction.
Afrikaans, although the language of the Dutch, is spoken mainly by Afrikaners, who are European colonizers of Dutch ancestry. Afrikaans is actually a Creole language developed by indigenous people, enslaved people, and European settlers, but it became synonymous with the language of the oppressor.
We visited the Apartheid Museum to learn more about this history and young people's pivotal role in the fight for Black liberation in South Africa.
Young women filmmakers from Global Girl Media joined us at the museum. Global Girl Media is an international organization that empowers youth innovation and young female entrepreneurship through media.
We actually spent the whole day together to share and discuss our work and production process. Then we ate some bomb lunch and headed to the museum. Surprisingly, it was their first time to the museum too.
It's not that big of a surprise. I haven't been to the African American Museum in DC, but after this, I think I should go.
After visiting the museum, we had a discussion and heard some of the girls' thoughts on the history and remnants of apartheid and even today's debate on land redistribution.
Roll that joint.
Hi, I'm Addie from POPPYN, and I'm here in Johannesburg, South Africa with
Jessica, Tlaleng
from Global Girl Media. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do at your program?
Okay, Global Girl Media is basically bringing a group of girls together and actually giving them skills, journalistic media skills that can help them in the industry. It's a group of 15 girls or more sometimes, ranging from 18 until 25. They're given different causes to actually help them.
Before, I was kind of like everywhere, okay? I was just crazy about media. I want to do media, you know? But right now, I know exactly what it is that I want to do.
While there, we connected through our love of media and had a short screening of some of our films, including the most recent films on abuse and breast cancer. After we met with Global Girls Media to connect and exchange films, we ate lunch and then headed to the Apartheid Museum to learn more about South Africa's history. After going through the museum, there were so many thoughts that we decided to have a panel discussion right then and there. What struck you out the most about the museum?
When I first got here, I wasn't really expecting what I saw. I thought maybe they'd sugarcoat everything that happened in the past, but it was all eye-opening and I got to learn more about what happened really.
Grandfather shared a lot of stories with me about apartheid. When I got inside and I actually saw that what he was telling was actually the truth. People were tortured back then, you know, it was not easy at all. Today I got to actually see the footage, the real footage that was taken, and yeah.
Did y'all find anything similar to like things that happened here and like the things that happened in Philadelphia perhaps?
It really like made me think of segregation and Jim Crow in the US. Like everything was designed. These people were like professional racists and they were professionally doing these things to oppress people. And they did it through the law, which was crazy to me.
The thing that really made me mad is the same thing that made me mad when I was learning about my own history in African American class and things like that, was that one, they got away with it. They pretty much got away with it. And two, it still lasts to this day.
But I think that's where reconciliation comes in. Yes, they may not really mean it, but as an individual, it's where you have to like start accepting that, you know what, I still have to live my life in this area. And I have to accept that even if people won't change, I still have to make a difference, be the difference perhaps, and just put them aside, really.
I understand when you say forgiveness and just letting go, which is something that we have to make a choice and say we have to do it. We have to forgive at some point, but letting go is not easy because this is still affecting us.
It's really hard to just forgive and forget when black people in South Africa are still oppressed.
There's this about the land. They want to take back the land with no recompensation. You can't do that.
I beg to differ with you there. How can you recompensate something that it's not yours? They took the land from black people, so we want what's ours now. We don't owe them anything. It's not anger, we are not angry, we just want what's ours.
You have to understand that it wasn't your fight, right? So fine, our forefathers fought, democracy came, right? Then this child is now born into this new democracy. This grandfather leaves this land to this child. Yes, it was taken away 100 and what, I don't know when, how many years back. But then now this child is growing up in this country, a South African citizen.
Yes, as black people, we are not free. We don't have our land. We're not in their spaces. Once we don't have their mansions house, we're still living in RDP houses, even today.
So after going through the Apartheid Museum and experiencing and seeing the harsh realities of the history of South Africa, we still see today that remnants of this horrible incident in history still affects the youth in South Africa today, and they're still fighting for change and their voices are still being heard because the conversation around apartheid and land redistribution and unemployment and the adverse effects of this are still happening.
So we're popping
with Global Gold Media SA,
and
that's what's popping.
I'm never gonna hold you. I wasn't ready for the maturity, passion, and knowledge that was in that discussion.
I agree. What was really interesting to me was their opposing views on land redistribution.
There are some who support the act of retrieving land from the offspring of colonizers without compensation. Others fear that the move is too radical and will have a devastating impact on the economy.
So where do you stand on this matter?
Well, it's clear that there is a concerning wealth and land disparity over 20 years after apartheid has been repealed. So, I support land redistribution in South Africa. However, I think it has to be handled strategically so that the economy does not suffer. This is a complicated debate. We could do an entire episode just on this issue.
True. Well, up next, we take a look at an event that was basically the culmination of our trip, the Community Film Showcase.
After long days of shooting and crunch time editing, POPPYN, Bafokeng Youth Center, and IUB Yard, and a few other media makers came together for screening and community dialogue.
One of the films that screened was created by students from a film program at Kitsong, a local high school. The film explores a young man's journey with sexual identity and self-discovery.
In this segment, we speak to the writer and director to hear about the motivation and the process of creating their film, which received a standing ovation from the audience.
Come on, I love you and you're the only guy for me. Not...
What's up, lovers?
Not... I'm leaving.
Look, Mario, I don't have time for this.
Wait.
Hi, I'm Nasir from POPPYN, and today I'm here with
Milisi from I Am We Are
and
Kachisa from Kitsong.
And today I am with both of these amazing writers and directors of the film we just watched. So for the viewers who haven't seen the film yet, can you give a quick synopsis on what it's about?
It's about homosexuality and religious aspects, where a boy lives with a mother and father and little sister, and he's gay. Like he's both into boys and girls, and he wants to tell his parents that, you know what, I'm gay, but then he knows that the parents are religious and they won't accept it.
The whole message of the thing is that to thine own self be true. Like we saw it as a need for us to sort of like go into those like uncomfortable areas and showcase them on our film. It felt like it was a huge part that we wanted to showcase on our film. So in South Africa, I would say that there are a lot of males who are actually gays, but they don't actually like accept themselves the way they are, but they tend to be something they are not because of how society expect them to be. It is a movie that is aimed at youth awareness. We wanted to raise some factors that like they are not spoken of and are uncomfortable matters, and they would teach and educate people
especially the youth, such as homosexuality and religious aspect. At our school, Kizong, we have drama, and our drama teacher does editing, and he's good at it, so he taught some of the students how to edit. So we have film club at school because we wanted to produce more films that had message and could, inspire people and motivate other people as well.
Was there any difficulties when filming a project?
We know, we chose the best actors from our school name, but even if they were sort of they're the best in acting, but sort of being gay, and they had to get into character, they had to be the character, and they had to sort of be comfortable with that on the camera, and that sort of moved them from their comfort zone and what they believed in, but they actually became that. So that was one difficulty we faced as a group. We wrote the whole thing in 3 days, and honestly speaking, it wasn't easy. We had arguments, we had to come up with something that we all agreed on, and it wasn't easy. And then the process on how we wanted the film to go about, it wasn't also easy, but we managed to to overcome it, and the film was amazing.
Where can we find your beautiful work?
Okay, you can find the film on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube.
So I'm Nasir.
I'm Elise. I'm Kahisa.
And that's what's poppin'.
Congratulations to all of the filmmakers who shared their work. We were honored to join you.
Our last segment is a reflection piece from POPPYN. We wanted to share our personal experience and memories in South Africa with you guys.
Let's roll the clip.
The process for me was an entirely new experience. It was my first time out of the country, and everything was new to me and surprising. I came at it with an open mind and open heart.
I think this trip is gonna last or stay with me for the rest of my life. It impacted me in ways that I didn't expect. I knew that I would get to see a new place and add a stamp to my passport and experience a different culture, but I feel I have a new perspective of the world and of Africa.
An experience that is going to stick with me would have to be when we went to the movie theaters for a private screening with IUBR. And before we went in there, IUBR had this little mantra that we all stood in a circle with. We all chanted along in harmony, and at the end of it, they gave a nice empowering speech about how moving forward will always keep you empowered.
Everybody had a great time. Everybody learned a lot. And it was also really beautiful to see POPPYN and young people from these programs work together, build community, have fun, and create some really powerful work.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
To overlook the area of Rustenburg on top of that mountain, it just felt really good. And I just felt really accomplished, and I was proud. I was proud of myself, and I was proud of my whole team.
I definitely feel closer to South Africa, and I feel I have experienced a part of me, and I know that being African American is sometimes we're not connected to our roots, and we lose sight of that, and we forget that there is a connection between us.
Having this connection can bring us together as a people after we've been separated for so long.
I think it's pretty groundbreaking. It's certainly groundbreaking for POPPYN because it's our first international project, and I hope it's not our last. But I hope also that it makes an impact.
What I hope the outcome would be to spread awareness on both sides, not just to bring the experience of Africa back to America, But I honestly hoped that us being there has also given them a connection to Black Americans.
By now, you probably realize how much this experience impacted us and opened our worldview.
To our audience watching, we hope this episode helps to expand your worldview too, and that you're motivated to question misunderstandings and stereotypes you hear about South Africa and the continent. We don't have to accept the surface and false narratives we hear about Africa in mainstream media or in our textbooks at school.
And this concludes our 25th episode on youth power in South Africa. We want to thank our community partners, I Am We Are, the Bafokeng Youth Center, Global Girl Media, who made this project so special. We also want to thank our friends from Joburg TV, the African Leadership Academy, and all of our friends in South Africa who showed us mad love.
And thanks again to our supporters in Philly and across the states who helped us fund our first, and hopefully not our last, international episode.
If you like this video, please share it online.
And to see more of our episodes and segments, please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And let us know what you think. Once again, I'm Nasir.
And I'm Addie.
And that's what's poppin'.